I'm doing a 30-minute session for a client, so I'm going to be sharing psychic wisdom and energy healing. If any of you are interested in exploring a session with me, please come visit me at my website at abbeynormalswisdomquest.com. Okay, so I have done 2 other sessions with this client, so I'm going to put links in the description if you're interested in checking them out. And I want to thank you so much for the opportunity to connect with you again. You've introduced me to a phenomenon I had not heard of, and I'm really interested to discover what comes forward on this. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and read the goals here. Hello, awesome Abbey. I'm very interested in what messages my higher self has for me after my first 2 intense energy healing sessions. I will say there's a lot of density to this. I sent a couple pics because I would also like to know if Mona Lisa from the moon, found during the secret Apollo 20 mission, has any messages for me or all of us. I feel a connection in that I found out about her years ago for a reason. I'm just curious as to what reason that would be, if any. I really hope the message received is helpful in any way to anyone who views this session, if and when you decide to post it. Show love on purpose. All right, I'm going to go into the meaning of Mona Lisa and the presentation of this information. I know there's conflict out there. Is this true? Is this not true? What's important for us to all be aware of is that this material that is presented to us gives us as a human race so much to work with. And whether it is a creative story or it's the legit truth, there's meaning here. There's absolute meaning here. And so I'm going to go into the Mona Lisa as a beautiful gift of reflection, as something that gives you an opportunity to go deeper inside of yourself, for us to all go deeper. And we need to be thankful for this. So I'm just going to pause for a moment here. One thing I find about these conspiracy theory stories is that there is a starvation within our human race, and we're starving for more than just planet Earth. We're starving for more than just the human race. And it feels as though the only people that are really going to have access to that information is the government. And then we hear from other people, just regular Joes around the planet, who have these weird experiences. And we want more information. We want to know more about this. And the government has those types of powers, right? The military has those types of powers. So how are we to get access to these treasures of discovery if they aren't shared with us? And so whether this Mona Lisa is a true event or it is not, it's a fabricated story. I mean, it's very hard to know. Even for me, when I go in the energy of anything, it has existence. Every thought, every idea, every fictional character is real in the energy world. And so I will go to that, and I won't be able to tell if it's real or not, because it is real. In the energy world, it is absolutely real. So I'm going to go into the Mona Lisa to find out the gift of this in your life, okay? And that is going to be a gift for all of us. And thank you for introducing me, because I never heard of this before, and it is fascinating. And I'm a total fan of discoveries like this. I too would love to have more of the real physical interaction with extraterrestrials, just like everybody else. All right, I'm going to relax now and get tuned in. So messages from your higher self and messages from Mona Lisa. Okay. Oh yeah, the density. Right now I feel something like that really is overwhelming on my head. And there's vibrational patterns, and I can feel them in my brain. And I feel a really intense energy that comes down the center of my head, almost like it's going to crack my head into 2 pieces. But all it does is just go into my head and then expand vibrations out and around. And I have no control, so I'm kind of in a dream state, just allowing the vibrations to pulsate through me. It's kind of like being in a coma and being slightly aware and slightly unaware. But not really dreaming, but not really awake. And not really able to be in control of anything. Almost like being completely and utterly paralyzed. So I'm just going to experience vibrations in my brain and then light piercing down through the top of my head. Oh my gosh. The next thing I'm shown is a massive factory. And it's an underground thing. And there are lots and lots and lots and lots of beds with people on them. And it's defined as a factory, literally, fabricated bodies. But are they fabricated bodies? Are they animated bodies? Or because these bodies have sensory experiences, have the ability to feel and to process the meaning of what they feel on some level. They're not completely dead. I mean, they're not completely robotic. This is an experiment, a massive, 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 massive experiment. Thousands and thousands of these fabricated bodies. And they're lying on beds. They're not like going through a big machine and they're kind of on hooks or something like this. I mean, they're created and placed on these beds and they're full-fledged adults. But they're not moving or doing anything. But there's pulses of energy that are going into their brains, particularly. So I'm again going to just go and be one of these for a moment. I'm okay. I mean, I'm not upset. It's almost like I'm a baby. I don't have any prior memories, so I'm kind of just feeling the experience. But I do have a sensation of wanting to be animated, wanting to see what's going on, wanting to understand. Now there's a parallel here. And what is this? What is like a present day secret factory creating people and fabricated people now is being paralleled with an extraterrestrial found and trying to reproduce this extraterrestrial in mass, basically, but not being able to quite do it. But I still feel like I am the extraterrestrial now, too. I feel a weird relationship with time. I mean, it is extremely distorting of my mind and my relationship with reality and the location of my actual body. Okay, something that comes to me is imagine you are the beginning, the nucleus of many parts of yourself. So you, in a way, are the mother, father, okay? If you have psychic awareness on a level that you can interpret far more than our human race are allowing ourselves to psychically interpret, you would be simultaneously connected with your beginnings, your place in time, simultaneously with future place and time. And you would be completely aware of, let's say you're the apple tree and all the apples on the tree and everywhere those apples go across the whole planet, for instance, in time and place and on and on and on. And so imagine you're a being, and from this being, tissue samples are taken to reproduce the same being in, let's say, a massive factory of duplications of yourself. And you can sense every single one of them. They can't sense you though, but you can sense them as a singular nucleus and awareness of them. Now you're, let's say, 1,000,000 years old, and you come from 1,000,000 years ago, simultaneously experiencing the future, and all yourself in the future, simultaneously still feeling like you were 1,000,000 years ago. So there's a strange reality going on here. The thing is, when it comes to souls, I can be 1,000,000 parts of myself. I do this all the time. We all do this. As souls, we're always going places and doing things. We're not just one soul. We are like the apple tree with many apples, but the apples have legs and arms and eyes, and they go talk and do things. And then they come back to the central space. So let's say a higher self is an apple tree, and the apples are the souls of the higher self. And the higher self is sending parts of itself to experience and explore interdimensional spaces, realities, etc., on and on and on and on and on. Now you take that concept from the energy world, and now you explore that as a physical reality. And you have the psychic ability to sense yourself, your physical form, in duplicates in a future time, simultaneously, in the past. It's pretty incredible, really. Why aren't these bodies, though, waking up? I will say I don't feel necessarily attracted to the moon as a living organism, like a mother birther of life and creativity on the level that Earth is doing that. I don't really relate to the moon providing. I don't experience moon energy when it comes to this. But I do experience living extraterrestrial beings and acquiring tissue samples from them. And I don't know if that was given by, like, here are my tissue samples so you can make clones of me in a factory. I don't get the impression that was the conscious intentions, but that's the domino effect. So how did they get access to these tissue samples? They're just taken. Studies explored. I mean, there's a really dark underworld here. I don't feel as though the story's quite right. I don't feel like this Mona Lisa story is quite right, but I feel like it's an opportunity for us to all go deeper to find something more. And this story has parallels with actual reality in our present Earth experience. I do feel a massive withholding of enlightenment and insightfulness and expansion, because you can control the masses. You can. And it's stories like these, whether real or not real, it doesn't matter, because they're trying to bring a voice out to the possibilities, to a hunger, a starvation, to a movement, to a demand to release this information. But we don't want just another story, we want the truth. I mean, what would the human race do with the truth that there's underground labs where there's alien tissues and they're duplicating those bodies in order to animate them and learn more about those races? And it doesn't matter if they make 1,000,000 of these, they can just throw them in a dumpster because they're expendable. They just want to know more about these races. I mean, what would the human race do if that was on the news? Perhaps this world has gotten so incredibly out of balance, and that's why the door is shut here. because there are different realities of awareness. And when we blend separate realities of awareness together, could be a catastrophic event. People who know things, people who don't even believe in this stuff, now being exposed. It's just like human awakening is not an easy process, because you will be exposed to truths that make you feel like you're going to have a mental breakdown. Now, let's say you're awakened enough to be open-minded to this, but now you're being introduced to raw reality. It's going to make you throw up. It's going to make you puke your guts out. It's going to make you have a mental breakdown, because these things literally in real life, this isn't a movie. This isn't playing pretend. In real life, this stuff will give you such an extreme reaction that you could have a heart attack. You could puke your guts out. That's what vibrationally is coming to me about this. All right, so now I'm going into a new thread, and Mona Lisa is the voice of a soul that is inhabiting one of these clones. And I don't like the word clones, because, I mean, everybody thinks the world is run by clones and reptilian shapeshifters and blah, blah, blah. We have to realize that the human race still exists. And if we start tipping our teeter-totter into dark stuff as the only thing that is real, we become sick. And we become lost in that dimension. And so we have to balance the teeter-totter, okay? Because I've done journeys, plenty of journeys. I have not come across an actual physical clone running the planet, okay? So we are a human race here. But I hear the spirit of I hear a spirit in a very far away place in planet Earth, in our present. And it's like a baby. And it's trying to be heard, which creates a domino effect to create news or conspiracy or whatever to get the story out, in order to spark an interest, in order to create movement, in order to reach this soul. Why is the soul so tiny? It's like a little tiny little cell. I'm going into it. And I'm expanding it. It's like constantly in pain, but it's constantly full of light as well. And it doesn't know how to detach or be set free. And I experience sawing sounds and cutting and slicing sounds. But they're bigger instruments that vibrate and work with laser beams as well. But the lasers are white, pure white. And they're not necessarily for cutting. Sometimes these lasers are for transferring information into. So like moving information from, let's just say we have a computer of all this insight. Now we're taking that file, moving it through a laser beam into the brain of, let's say, some fabricated body. Whether this is a human body or an extraterrestrial body or a robotic, some kind of half and half hybrid, I don't know. But the information is being put into the brain and then activated, so the brain then can function with that information. Is it an animated body? Is it a living thing? But this tissue is still alive, and the soul is attached to the tissue somehow. And the soul is generating infinite light, but it's also in pain. And it shows me vast histories of time that have nothing to do with planet Earth, but actually collide with planet Earth. It's extremely psychic. Even the little tissue sample is psychic. Oh man, I will tell you what, this is getting more and more interesting. Okay, I was recently introduced to the oldest tree, which is called Methuselah. And there's also experiments going on of taking what is like DNA from plants, old trees, to try to implant that into some kind of body that could be animated to talk about its experience through a language that could be understood. So a tree doesn't talk, right? Well, trees definitely talk on the energy side. And we as human beings just haven't adapted to allowing ourselves to hear the communication. But what if we are so driven by technology that we want the technology to manifest the communication for us? But what if we could take DNA from plants and mix it with DNA from humans or plants with anything? I mean, we could splice DNA of any and all kinds, extraterrestrial with plant. I mean, or just tree and turn it into a humanoid type thing. I mean, can you extract information from cells? Yes. I mean, there's extraordinary studies going on here. But there are some missing links because some of this living tissue has soul energy connected to it. I'm trying to understand. I'm just gonna try to release the soul because, but something tells me I can't necessarily do that because I can't release a soul from a living human body. Like I can't just help you die. Okay, I'm just gonna move your soul out of your body now, and then you don't have to animate that body anymore. um at least I haven't discovered how to do that. I don't know that I feel like that's my path, where I could move a soul from one body into another. It's not the first time I've ever heard of this happening, or having the technology or the capacity to do that in other places of the universe. Even moving a soul into an inanimate object like a doll. And going in and deeper, 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 deeper. Again, I feel this Mona Lisa is actually a cry for help. And the location of the cry for help is in the earth. And it's a tissue sample. And I feel this tissue sample has a living soul attached to it. And it's being used to study and make duplicates of a race or a species and trying to animate it and learn. It's not quite there yet. It's just not quite there yet. I mean, I will say on another level, it's incredible research. It really is incredible research. But as a human race, I mean, there's going to be human beings who aren't going to work on developing their empathy or their compassion or their unconditional love or their awareness of a spirit realm or a soul. They're not going to develop that. They could be very focused on the black and white, the logic, the technology side, and not really have the heart to choose to be self-aware of how actions could be harmful. It's kind of like cutting down a tree without telling the tree first. A lot of people cut down trees and they don't talk to the forest, and so there's maybe a miscommunication here between our connection with living things because the human race doesn't know how to update ourselves to becoming more self-aware of everything. I mean, we still step on bugs, right? I don't like bugs, just like the next person. But they are living beings as well. So, I mean, at what level does the human race expand our awareness, and how do we work with that? When it comes to trying to expand research of this kind, I mean, still talking to the soul, still trying to figure out what my calling is here. And you know what? The soul reached you. this soul reached you. It's not about the story, it is, but actually the location of the soul is where this is. And you're drawn to helping this soul. Still working on figuring this out. Because I'm reaching some kind of a golden orb basically, but it has other little orbs inside of it. And somehow this has got a heartbeat that keeps the soul inside this tissue. But the soul is experiencing duplications of itself and having life experiences, so to speak, over and 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 over again. And it's accepting of this, but it feels like it needs it to stop for its own soul's sake. Like it needs this to stop for itself. Like it's on another side, it's being tortured, okay? But there's not an awareness of how this is torturing a single soul. Because there's just simply not an awareness, like cutting down a tree and not realizing the story of that tree and how you impacted it, by that decision. And so I understand why the human race is like this and why it would be hard for anybody to have a clue that that was going on, because people don't think that way. A lot of people don't think that way. I ask your higher self, what am I called to do here? Like, I feel like the thing is asking me to kill it. I say, I'm gonna let your higher self soul make that decision, not me. Not you, not any of us. Your higher self will make that decision. And so I touch some of these inner orbs. And there's something from my own soul DNA that has a memory that it's looking for, apparently. And it's bringing that memory inside of itself. And it's a certain type of infection, apparently. And it would be akin to kind of like a snake poison, I guess. And it's pulling it into these orbs and it's starting to kill inside. It's the tissue is becoming infected, basically. And it starts to cry and it starts to say thank you. And it's a little girl. But she's, my God, so bright. I mean, she's a very generous soul. She knows exactly what she's doing, but there comes a time when things must come to an end and then a new beginning again. And you now, inside your heart, feel her heartbeat stop. And now from those tissues, she's released. I see the tissues getting black from the inside, rot from the inside out, and dying very, very quickly. But the thing is, it's not the end of the world, because the soul is attached to those tissues, and that's what we needed to do to set the soul free. I still see there's a lot of directions. I want you guys to know this is what it's like for me. There are factions of spirit guides for different collectives of learning, okay? So there's going to be collectives of learning of people who just, want to chill at the bar and know what it's like to drink and listen to music and play pool and smoke cigarettes for the rest of their life. Like, there's factions of learning, all different kinds of learning, all different kinds. So there's going to be collectives of souls that are gravitating toward these secret places in order to develop technology and explore that experience. Okay, so whether we agree or disagree with it, there is collectives of souls that are doing secret, incredible things. Is it good? Is it bad? That's what they're wanting to explore. So do we have a right to say no? How dare you explore that? Or are these souls learning something for the whole universe? That in the end is the greatest gift to every single soul in creation. Everything is. Okay, everything is the greatest gift to all souls in creation. And I see many enlightened souls that are directing and supporting the development of new technology and awareness and thinking. I mean, for what purpose is it for? And it just is this way, okay? Oh, I'm supposed to do something here. And we all should be doing this. So I'm being asked to place light in different pockets of the planet, to illuminate and let these secret places know that it is safe to come out of the woodwork, because for us to grow together, we must work together. And so when we create walls that hide, now we aren't working together as a human race, and our evolution depends upon us all working together. And this is where illnesses are coming from in our human race, because we are hiding so many things from each other. We're hiding whole works and explorations to better factions of thinking. And some people will know and a lot of people won't know. There's this going on. So how many pockets inside of yourself, though, are there, where you're hiding whole pockets of information that maybe it's time that you shine the light into, so other people could see that about you, and so you can just live an honest life? Is it hard to live an honest life? Kind of feels that way. Is it hard for these factions to come out of the woodwork? Yeah, it would feel that way for sure. When we stop pointing fingers and saying, that is bad and this is the only thing that is good, and we're lost. We need to stay open-minded, and support everything with unconditional love, open-mindedness. And when these truths come to the surface, those souls who are having a hard time coping with that, we need to be there to support them. And all learning, if our evolution is going to develop into a place of benevolence, then all learning needs to be for the betterment of everybody. But if the learning is to control masses, then we're always going to be struggling with infection. Everybody will be struggling with infection. Whether they're aware of this or not, those that are aware will also struggle with infection, just like those who are unaware, because there's so much separation going on. And there's so much desire for truth to come out. And we're all kind of sick, whether the infection is depression or anxiety, narcissism, obesity. I mean, we're all processing these infections in different ways to keep the human race alive. And that's why it's so important that these secrets come out in order for us to all heal, not just the humans, the souls, the freaking souls. And we need this. We all need this. I'm just going to check and see here if there's anything else. So your higher self wants you to know that you definitely have a nature for being a healer, okay? And your soul is tapped into locations, interdimensional locations, or even spaces in our present current Earth timeline. And you're wanting to help souls. You just are. So if I can honor your request to help you help a soul, until you can start to develop your own gifts, then absolutely. You know what I mean? It's kind of neat because your higher self is showing you this introduction to who you are and what your calling is. So you hearing the call of Mona Lisa, the story itself was a great gift. It was a great voice to where what is this really about? A soul in a secret part of the earth. And then as we heal that soul, release, we follow through what the calling is, we release the soul. It helps your heart feel better. And now we start to understand a great deal about balance and the evolution of humanity, and how to release us from the infection is to illuminate the truth. Not with anger, not with annoyance, not with those jerks. No, that's not unconditional love. We do it with support and gratitude, okay? Gratitude for everything. And that's how we evolve into the benevolent angels that we've always been. All right, thank you so very much. Thank you so very much for this. I really appreciate it. This was a very interesting experience, and I know it's going to mean a lot to a lot of people. And thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all have a very wonderful day.